righty. Welcome into the program. Brendan Glasheen live from Salt Lake City, getting ready for NBA All-Star Weekend. Pretend Salt Lake City. This is Green Dot Daily. We are Action Network's daily sports betting show. Join us every weekday, live at noon Eastern. You might get looks like this. Not all the time, though. We're live on the Action Network app, also on the Action Network YouTube page. Green Dot Daily is presented by BetMGM. Use the bonus code ACTION when signing up to get up to $1,000 first bet insurance. Terms and conditions apply. Coming up on the show, I will return to non-game mode and get Stuckey in to talk college basketball. He has a look at tonight's slate, also a future in college hoops. BJ Cunningham discusses the soccer landscape, big matches today, also a look ahead to the weekend. And Nick Martin will join us to take a look at the NHL slate. He's not quite going to a side in this match, any of the matchups tonight, but he's got some player props that he wants to discuss. So look forward to that. But first, again, we are live from Salt Lake City. I am representing one side of this All-Star game. Brandon Anderson is the other. And I look forward to challenging Brandon. That's coming up in moments. Our edition, the Green Dot Daily edition of the All-Star Game Draft, because they are drafting this year live on the court. So we will get there in moments. But to kind of get ourselves warmed up for this big game, we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss earlier in the weekend coming up from Salt Lake City, the All-Star Game weekend festivities. Brandon will dive into that, and I will listen as I mentally prepare myself to take him down in this game. We'll start with the skills contest. What's your play here?
Starting with the best thing, like we're loading the best event up front. Who doesn't like watching guys like half jog around obstacles on a court and throw chest passes? Like this is it. This is the main event. Look, this was an event that got kind of they threw everything out and started over last year, right? So now we've got this 3 teams of 3 thing. So we got Team Jazz, 3 of the home guys, Team Rookies with Paolo Banchero, Jaden Ivey, Jabari Smith. And then for the second year in a row, we got Team Antetokounmpo, which is a fun gimmick, but Giannis, Thanasis, and Alex, not exactly your top skill team here. So basically the format is a bunch of goofy skills test, 3 teams down to 2, and then we end kind of the more traditional way. And as always, the important thing here is you'll win with a half-court shot, aka a coin flip. So my strategy is give me the team that's the most skilled, that doesn't have a weak link, so I make the finals. Because after that, just a coin flip. Who can make a half court? I don't know. I don't know who can shoot half courts. So give me Team Rookies, plus 175. I think they should be the favorite because Paolo and Jabari, they're big men, but they're skilled. They can dribble, they can pass. No weak links on that team. Utah Jazz, Walker Kessler, he's a rookie on that team. I don't want him dribbling and passing, do all sorts of skill stuff. No, thank you. I don't need the Antetokounmpo bros doing skills for me. So I think that Team Rookies is the team most likely in the finals, and then I'll take my chances from there.
Okay, very good. You're siding with the rookies. They want to make their statement, make their mark, so they're in the All-Star game down the road. 3-point shootout, some late swaps. Anthony Simons is out. Julius Randle takes his place. You will not pick Julius Randle for this. Who do you like in the 3-point contest?
Yeah, I will not pick Julius Randle. I actually liked Simons in this one. Randle, the replacement. He's going to have long odds, longest on your board. That's going to tempt you. Don't do it. My best bet really should just be don't bet Julius Randle. Don't do it. He is a career 33.4% shooter. So just don't. I'll take instead a career 40% shooter, Buddy Hield. Give me the favorite, best shooter in the field. He leads the league in 3 points. Last night, he broke the Indiana Pacers all-time record for threes in a season. Remember Reggie Miller? Remember our heyday growing up? Reggie gone. We're not even at the All-Star break, and Buddy just broke his record with threes. He's been in this event before, and you want that here because it's not the easiest thing to suddenly just jack up 33s in 60 seconds. So you want the experience. He's got the deep range. Remember, they got that long, weird Mountain Dew shot now. And he was in this twice. Both times he made the finals and he won it once. That's the guy that we want. I know he's the favorite, but I don't think he's the favorite by enough. So I would put him maybe closer to plus 300 at plus 420. I've got him and Dame far ahead of the field. So I like the favorite. I'll just take Buddy and take my chances with the guy that's at the top.
Okay, Tatum in next, Herter, Hero, Halliburton, Randall, and then the hometown kid. Well, hometown because he's on the team, the Utah Jazz, Lauri Markkanen. On to the dunk contest. This is I'm fascinated by this because I mean these are some names that folks might not be all that familiar with, but you're going to go to a guy who has been dunking basketballs since he was just a baby.
Yeah, give me Mac McClung plus 250. So yeah, these are not names that a lot of people are going to tune in for. No Vince Carter, no Michael Jordans. This is not going to be that dunk contest. Sorry to break the news to you. But Mac McClung, dude is literally in the NBA for his dunking ability. He's not even really literally in the NBA, if we're being totally fair. He just got bumped up just so he could have the right jersey for this game, right? But he's around because this guy was a viral YouTube sensation in high school because he could score and he could dunk on dudes. He has been in 3 dunk contests before and he won 2 of them. This is a guy that has creativity, he has style. And I think the other guys here, like Jericho Sims, the favorite, he's a huge dude and he can just destroy people in game, but that's not what win the dunk contest usually. We've only had in the last 15 or so years since Dwight Howard won in 2008. That was our last real big guy. Obi last year, Blake won it. They're 6'9". I think Sims is too big. Mac McClung, 6'2", 48-inch vertical. Dude can fly. White men can jump, Brandon. He's going to win this thing for us. Plus 250 for Brent Barry, for Georgetown and Iverson. I think he's going to rock the Iverson throwback. That's where he played in college. He broke his scoring record. I think Mac McClung should be an easy favorite here.
Mac McClung, yes, just earned a 2-way contract with the Philadelphia 76ers. I've seen him along in the G League landscape with the Delaware Bluecoats, G League affiliate of the Philadelphia 76ers. And Mac McClung in the discussion for the Rising or the Next Up game, not the Rising Stars Challenge. I know they've changed that up a bit, but the Next Up game featuring some G League guys. So I'm familiar with McClung. I like it. And of course, we showed that in the highlights. That dunk last year was with the Lakers in their last game of the season. Everybody was out and McClung made some noise. He was also with the Warriors a bit in the Summer League. Okay, I know you're all bored of that, so let's move on to the All-Star game itself. Again, the All-Star game draft coming up in moments. The real All-Star draft that you need to tune into. But pending who might be on your team, we'll find out. All-Star game MVP. What do you like?
Yeah, so obviously we're kind of shooting in the dark here because we literally don't have teams yet where we're doing this playground style on Sunday night before the game, like moments before the game. I guess we must have jerseys printed out for both teams, right? We're just going to playground style draft dudes and hand out the jerseys and off we go. So we're drafting. Right now, we're going to play All-Star MVPs, not even knowing who the teams are. That's all right. Give me the favorite here, and I'm going to add on to a position. So I'm going to take 2 guys. First one, give me Giannis. Giannis, 29 points per game in 6 All-Star games. That's the most in NBA history of everyone. That's pretty good. There's a lot of NBA history guys, right? Giannis is number 1, 29 points a game. In an All-Star game, the guy you want to back for MVP is who's going to try hard. Who's not just going to come out and screw around and jack up like 40-footers. Who's going to just run, rebound, offensive rebound, all those missed 3-pointers and just like dunk it home over and over again. That's Giannis. He's just going to get so many free points in this game. 71% career shooting in the All-Star game. So I think Giannis is a top 3 guy. Whatever the teams end up, he's going to be in the mix. He's going to put up 30 and 10 and have a chance here. And then give me another long shot with him. Longest shot. You want another starter. It's almost always going to be a starter. Give me Donovan Mitchell, plus 1,400. So I'll play those 2 together, Giannis and Donovan Mitchell. I get a plus 377 basically on both of them. Donovan Mitchell, here's the angle. We're coming back. We're coming back to Utah, right? Donovan Mitchell returned to Utah in January, put up 46. So come home to the home fans, light it up in front of the old guys, the old stadium. Remember, he scored 71 on the Bulls earlier this season. He's had 6 40-point games this year. And you kind of want, if you're not going to get that easy big man points, just give me a gunner. Steph won it last year, just starting to shoot a ton of threes. Mitchell took 18 threes in that game in Utah earlier this year. So if he just starts shooting from deep, remember Remember Bubble Mitchell? Remember when he just started, just could not miss in the bubble? Give us one of those games, plus 1,400. I'll play both of them. Maybe we get one on each team. Maybe they're teammates. We don't know. That's the fun of it. You can't go too crazy with these bets, but I'll take Giannis and Spida together.
All right, I like it. Little sort of revenge spot for Donovan Mitchell. He wants to take Salt Lake City by storm. So that is Brandon Anderson's look ahead to the weekend. But of course, we have the game. And what we figured we'd do here on Green Dot Daily, we will do an all-star game draft. We are going to square off and draft starting fives. Now, we decided not to be Team LeBron, Team Giannis. We're going to have all 10 starters available to us. Brandon, since you're the guest, you can go first, and then I can take you down with the second pick in the draft. So, Brandon, why don't you start us off? Who is your first pick in the 2023 NBA All-Star Game?
Well, I just made my case for the first pick, so I'll just take him. Give me Giannis. Give me Giannis and his 29 points a game. Give me the try-hard Team Antetokounmpo. He shows up in these events. He tries hard. He's the best player in the world. If I get one game to win, I want Giannis more than anyone else right now.
Okay, my first pick. I've got my paperwork here. Let's see. All right, my first pick in the NBA All-Star Game draft. Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics. I know what you're thinking. How could you not take LeBron James? Well, LeBron, it's been an interesting year. Of course, he broke Kareem's record. He's been banged up as of late. I am of the belief, and I know, like, realistically, I know it's going to be Team LeBron, Team Giannis. I'm not also sure, and I'm just a guess, if LeBron really is hurt or if he's nursing this ankle and there's reporting now coming out that he's upset with his minutes, starving ham. There's a little pushback there. They make some moves at the deadline to help the Lakers possibly make the play-in. I would rather have, and again, I've got my gripes about this, Jason Tatum just missed the game at Milwaukee the other day for Boston. He did play in last night's game against Detroit. I'm of the belief that Jason Tatum is going to be full out, going all out in this All-Star game. He's still a youngish player in the league that is still trying to take the league by storm, remind people of how great he is. I will take the versatile wing, Jason Tatum.
Okay, so Brandon, do you know who does not have to remind people how great he is? LeBron James. Just take LeBron James. I'm taking LeBron James third in the draft. LeBron James third in the draft. What draft are we in? LeBron should have been second. He maybe should have been first. Make a case. It's LeBron James. LeBron is a 3-time All-Star Game MVP, which, by the way, if you need some motivation, you know who else has 3 All-Star MVPs? Some guy named Mike Jordan. So maybe LeBron would like to get a fourth one, tied for the most all-time with Kobe, the Kobe Award. He gunned for this thing last year until Steph just literally could not miss from downtown and he stole it away from him. But LeBron wants it. He wants the All-Star MVP. You're right. The foot thing, all that. Look, we got an exhibition game and LeBron wants a trophy. He's going to try it for this one. And do you realize you just took a Boston Celtic ahead of LeBron James? And now I get not just LeBron, I get angry LeBron on my team looking over at your sideline, seeing how you didn't take him. You're done. Draft is over. I already won.
I will say, and I'm speaking with I'm talking to my people here, my great team that's helping me put this lineup together. The one thing I will keep in mind is Joe Mazzulla, who just got named head coach of the Celtics permanently. Joe Mazzulla will be coaching the Eastern Conference. I wonder, is there bias there in the sense that, well, I want to keep Tatum rested going forward. I don't know, though. He held him out of the Milwaukee game. That was a big game, Celtics-Bucks, for seeding purposes, number 1 seed. I think Joe Mazzulla and Tatum, who have a great relationship, that's well documented. I still think Mazzulla will allow Jason Tatum to get his minutes in this game. Okay, leads to my second pick in the NBA All-Star Green Dot Daily Draft. I'm going to go with Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic, who has been nursing some things, yes, just got a new teammate in Kyrie Irving. I'm sure those two would love to be together in the real thing coming up on Sunday night. But Luka and Tatum, the ball handling of Luka Doncic, I think Luka has been, I know Matt Morris talked about this a lot. Luka has been, it's a different offense that they run in Dallas. It's basically give it to Luka, now give it to Kyrie and or Luka and just get out of the way. Luka Doncic with other stars around him. Come on, please. I am into this. Luka Doncic shining on the big stage with other stars around him. Something I know we've seen a small sample with Kyrie and Kristaps Porzingis, if you're willing to go there with him years ago. But Luka on this stage with other stars, yes, give me Luka Doncic, who can get to the rack and score.
Oh, Brandon. What are we going to do with you? This draft is over. Do you realize how hungover Luka is going to be when he comes to the All-Star game? Partying Luka. This dude is going to party it up.
Lake City. He'll be fine.
He's going to find somewhere, man. He's going to party it up all weekend. Here's the evidence. Luka's played in 3 All-Star games. He has scored 8 points in all 3 All-Star games. He has 4 rebounds total in all 3 All-Star games. Luka Doncic does not save himself for the All-Star game. I'm going to go with the center here, and I'm going to surprise you because I'm not going to take the guy that I would want for the whole season. I'm going to take the guy that I would want for one game against that guy. Give me Joel Embiid, because Joel Embiid, again, I'm thinking mind games here. Joel Embiid, 1 game exhibition against Nikola Jokic, who he loves to show up in pants whenever he can in one spot. Nikola Jokic, who, by the way, doesn't really take this thing that seriously usually either. Embiid had 36 and 10 last year. He was the other guy that was going to get that MVP before Steph went nuts. He wanted against Jokic. I know you're going to end up with him because I got the other center. I got Giannis, LeBron, and Embiid. You could draft the whole rest of the NBA. You're not beating this team.
All right, give me the MVP favorite, Nikola Jokic, putting up gaudy numbers, as we all know. Will he be a 3-time defending NBA MVP? Of course, we have a whole second half to figure that out. Western Conference #1 team. Murray's back. They're moving along guys like Porter. I think Jokic has been sensational. Once again, I'm not super high on the other players Jokic has played with in Denver. Still some unproven dudes on that team as far as what they've done. So with that said, knowing how well he's brought this team along to be out there with other stars, we come on, you got to give the MVP favorite. You're going to let him drop to me with the 6th pick in the draft. Give me Joker with Tatum and Doncic.
Your MVP favorite, by the way, career All-Star game average, 7 points, 7 rebounds, 3.5 assists. I'll take Donovan Mitchell next pick. I made the case for him earlier. Hopefully the guy gets hot. We're looking at guards now. I like Mitchell best on the board.
Okay, Ja Morant is up next for me. Ja now a starter with some of the injuries. So I like Ja out there with Luka. Come on, the handle game. I've got the edge here, no doubt, in the handle department. Give me Ja Morant to come out and make a statement. He has been unproven. Ja also made that comment that we got the West handled. Well, come on, Ja. I mean, now you're going to come over and play with Tatum, Doncic, and Joker. Give me Ja.
You got team highlight for sure. Your team's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I would certainly rather watch your team, but I'd rather play my team. I'm going to finish with guy that's 5th on my board. You gave me the entire top 5 of my board. There are 10 guys. I ranked them 1 to 10, and I got my top 5. So I don't know the math on that. It didn't work out for you. Kyrie Irving, 1 game. I know he's going to show up. Here's the thing. Kyrie Irving
shouldn't show up.
Look, give me like Dame or Shea or someone off the bench. Just give me 1 more guard off the bench and I'll be fine. Kyrie Irving actually plays really well in All-Star games. He averages 18, 6, and 9. He normally puts up huge assists. Kyrie Irving, like exhibition, crossovers, handle, dealing and diming off to guys. This is what Kyrie's made for. He's back with LeBron. We know how that works out. Mm-hmm. This is the perfect setting for him. He won All-Star MVP once before. I only need him to show up 1 time. I'll take my chances. We're done. You lost.
It's true. I mean, Kyrie and his relationship with the late, great Kobe Bryant, well documented, that All-Star Game trophy named after Kobe. So there, and Kyrie, not only on the floor, but in the keep an eye on Kyrie in those back hallways. He might be talking to somebody about his future free agency, Kevin Durant years ago. So don't be surprised, Luka, if that's why we can't let you play with Kyrie in this game, because he'll be too distracted, and Luka might get heartbroken if Kyrie's talking to some other pending free agent about their futures.
good. That's good.
Maybe
All right, who you got your last pick?
Yeah, my last pick is going to be the hometown guy, Lauri Markkanen. Lauri, I am sure, is motivated. Now, no Zion. I think Lauri is the guy that fills his spot, or no Durant, whichever one it is. But I like the hometown guy. Come on, give me the hometown guy here. Lauri to shoot some 35, 40 footers, knock a couple down. Oh, we're going to space the floor so effectively. We are the team we are team underdog here in this case, because everyone thinks with LeBron and Giannis. Again, I have my concerns about LeBron and how really into it is he going to be. Now, he probably will be, knowing that he's got everything accomplished and the Lakers are really going anywhere. So I'll take the hometown guy. And, Lauri, he'll be riding momentum from the 3-point contest. He's going to make a splash in that.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to win it, but he'll be in there. I like having some 3-point guys coming in, get the stroke going. Lauri, let's go.
All right, I like it. Hey, I like your team, but I like mine a lot more. Team Anderson by 100. I don't even care if Kyrie doesn't play. Put me in coach. I can play with my 4 guys. We're still going to be your team.
All right, Brandon. Well, see you on the court on Sunday. See how it goes.
I'll see you there.
Okay, on to college basketball. I got to go to the dressing room real quick. So, in college hoops, we've got Purdue and Maryland. The Purdue Boilermakers coming off a loss. I'm curious as to what Stuckey might be leaning in this particular spot. Maryland is, Purdue is a road favorite. Yes, total set at 132.5. Folks are into, based on the money percentages, into Maryland. Sorry, Stuckey. I had to just hop in the shower there and get cooled off after just that really heated draft. So let's bring in Stuckey now. Ooh, all right, we're good. Stuckey, what do you think? Purdue, Maryland is Purdue, who has not only they lost their last game, they've dropped a couple now in their last few games. Is this a bounce back spot for Purdue? You're muted, pal. I know you were blown away by that draft.
Well, yeah, I had to listen. This is my personal hell on earth. I had to watch you change after listening to NBA exhibition talk for 20 minutes. But I'm glad to be here to talk some actual basketball. It's a 20-minute draft, 20-minute exhibition draft. But I actually like Maryland here tonight, catching 1.5. I think it was 2 earlier. I think they match up pretty well with Purdue. Now, Zach Edey's going to get his. They don't have anyone who can take him away, but no, I mean, almost every team in the country doesn't have anyone that could take Edey away. The first game, he went off against Maryland. This game was at Purdue. Purdue got out to a 16-point lead. Maryland, I think, was 3 of 20 from 3 in that game. And still, Purdue had to hold on to win that game by 3. Maryland can do a couple of things really well here. Their dribble penetration and their pressure, their defensive pressure against this young Purdue backcourt, I think can have a lot of success in front of what should be a raucous environment. If you go back to that first matchup, Purdue had a 25% turnover rate. And look, this Purdue team, Edey's amazing. There's no elite teams this year. They're really young in the backcourt, which means struggle on the road. They've lost their last 2 road games. You saw them lose at Northwestern. They lost to Indiana. If you go back even further than that, I mean, look, they won at Ohio State, who lost one of their most important players. Ohio State's been a train wreck in the first minute of the game. And Ohio State's still led by 4 with 20 seconds to go. Probably should have won that game. And they beat one at Nebraska because of a blown call, and they needed overtime for that. They played at Michigan. They won by 5, didn't cover, and Michigan's best player was ruled out right before the game. So they haven't had the best road track record. Maryland's been amazing at home. They haven't lost in conference. I like Maryland to get this big win tonight. It's a team that is trending up. I like what I've seen of late. Now, they're not really consistent. Haslametrics, which is an analytical site, they have a consistency metric, which is like your game-to-game consistency, and they're 363rd in the country, dead last. So you'll get some head scratches. They're very Jekyll and Hyde. But if you just look at their home performances, right, they got blown out by Michigan by about 30 at Michigan. They beat Michigan at home. These are the 2 teams that they played road home. They went to Wisconsin, lost at Wisconsin, came home, blew them out by 20. This is your 3rd opponent that you've played home and road, and they really played Purdue right down to the wire at Purdue. I think they get the win tonight.
So you have a futures play for us on this Thursday as well, and you're turning to the Big East, the Creighton Blue Jays, sitting in a tie for second place, 11-4. Now, they lost to Providence the other night. They played in a real hard-fought game against UConn over the weekend. They had won 5 in a row going into the Providence game. And I know Creighton, this team caught a lot of attention, right? When last year ended, folks were into this team, their experience and what they brought back. Right now, I think I'm seeing a projected 5 seed, 4 seed, depending on where they finish in the Big East. Why do you like Creighton now?
Yeah, I think they're going to probably end up as a 3 or a 4. You could find 30 to 1. So if you can have 30 to 1 or better out there, I think they're worth an investment. And look, there's, as I mentioned before, there's no elite teams. And if you're one of the top 10 to 15 teams this year and you don't have a glaring weakness on offense or defense, you have a shot. And Creighton right now, I have as the number 5 team in the country from a power ratings perspective. I had a futures piece out right now that came out yesterday, actionnetwork.com, the Action Network app, where basically there's 8 teams that fit the qualifications of all of the past national champions. And Creighton's right on the fringe. Basically, your offensive and defensive adjusted efficiencies, if they sum up to, from a ranking wise, 50 or less, and you have a top 25 offense, then that's basically who the past 20 national champions have been, with the exception of 2014 UConn. Creighton is like number 30 offense, number 8 defense, but they played without their best player, and the best player in the Big East, Ryan Kalkbrenner, who had mono. Since he's been back, since December 22nd until now, they've basically been the number 6 team overall. I think 8 defense, 18 offense. They are right there. They fit every metric. I think they're a top 10 team easily. They're going to be right in the mix. And then when you look at this, you want to look at futures this year specifically from a timing, from a timing perspective.
Yep.
They just, they had their 8-game winning streak that ended, and they lost at Providence in a tough spot and a tough place to play. They still had a shot to win the game at the end of regulation, a shot to win the game at the end of the first overtime, and then eventually they lost in double overtime. But if you look at their schedule, the only remaining projected tournament team that they have is Marquette at home. That's it. So, they could end. And I don't see their odds getting any better than they are right now. And they're only going to go lower, I think. So I think that this is the time to invest. And I think they're going to end up with a higher seed. And this year, there's just not that big of a difference between like a 1 and a 3 or 4 seed. These top 10 teams are very clumped together. There's a lot of parity at the top. So, yeah, I don't think there's a glaring – the only weakness that I think that they have is the depth. So, which doesn't really matter in the NCAA tournament. You play one game on Thursday, one Saturday, you get a week off. If there's an injury, but yeah, I can't price that in. I think this is one of the 5 to 10 best teams in the country without a glaring weakness on either side of the ball. 30 to 1, way too high.
Yeah, and look, I understand that going into the tournament and going into the Big East tournament, NCAA tournament, you want to be playing your best and you're really evaluating teams where they are. But I thought the way they played in Maui, I thought, yep, this team's pretty legit. Texas Tech, who has not been to their capability in the conference season, that was a good win. Arkansas, they played Arizona tough, played Texas pretty tough. So teams that they could very well run into. Creighton has showed up in the big games. All right, Stuck, thanks for handling that NBA exhibition segment. I know that was tough for you, and thanks for stopping by. I know you're going to be on BBOC tomorrow morning. When that comes out, you'll also be there on Saturday, 10:30. Yeah, Big Bets on Campus podcast will record this afternoon. That'll be out tonight, wherever you listen to podcasts. And then Saturday morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, myself and the guys from the 3-Man Week, we will preview Saturday's slate. Excellent. All right, pal. Talk to you soon. Absolutely. Have a good one. Okay, in the world of soccer, a good one today at 12:45 Eastern. Man U, Barcelona coming up in moments. I mean, we are a live program, so we've got to get these out and nifty here. So let's go to BJ Cunningham, who joins us now on Green Dot Daily. So, look, we're putting you up against the clock here. This Man U Barcelona game is starting soon. We'll get to the other matchup in a moment here if you have an angle, but who do you like?
I like Barcelona on the money line. I project them at minus 217. I think this is a great matchup for them. Barcelona has quickly become one of the best teams in the entire world. They're second behind Manchester City in expected goal differential per 90 minutes, and they're an outstanding defense. They've only conceded 7 goals in La Liga this season, only averaging 0.76 expected goals allowed per match. Manchester United coming into this match, they have a big-time fixture pileup. We're going on 4 straight weeks now where they've had to play 3 matches each week. They're dealing with a lot of injuries right now. Most notably, Lisandro Martinez is suspended for this match. He's been their best center back. They're also missing Anthony and Anthony Martial, 2 of their best attackers. So this is a really good spot here for Barcelona at a pretty cheap number for one of these teams that's been one of the best teams in the world going up against Manchester United team that's going to play very, very defensive.
And what about the other match that we showed there a moment ago? Do you have a play on that?
Yep, Salzburg, Roma. Jose Mourinho's Roma is quickly becoming one of my favorite teams in the entire world. Very, very underrated team in Serie A. What they're so good at is they'll allow you to get in the final third, but they will not allow you to get in the penalty area. So one of the stats we created on Wonder Goal is final third entry to box entry conversion rate, basically saying, okay, once you enter the final third, how good are you getting the ball into the opponent's penalty box? Well, Roma's literally the best team in Europe's top 5 leagues at preventing you from doing that. This Salzburg team, they played well against Chelsea and AC Milan in the Champions League, but their underlying numbers in Austria haven't been as good as they've been in years past. This year, they're at a plus 0.83 expected goal differential per 90 minutes, when the past 2 years, they've been over plus 1.1. So I think this is a really good spot here for Roma. Draw no bet at minus 120. And also, if you haven't played it yet, if you haven't listened to Wonder Goal, Roma's 23-1 to win the Europa League. And I think that's a tremendous price for one of the more underrated teams in Europe.
Wonder Goal podcast. BJ's on there. Lieboff, Cunningham. You are Cunningham. Geez, Lieboff, DeBundo. I mix you guys up all the time now because you can all talk variety of sports, but of course we're talking soccer here. Okay, the weekend slate. Just some look ahead on that. What are some spots that you have circled for the weekend?
Yeah, I like Brentford minus 115 at home against Crystal Palace. So 2 weeks ago, Brentford was at home against Southampton, who's sitting at the bottom of the table, but their underlying metrics are better than Crystal Palace. And they were this exact same price at minus 115. And Brentford pumped them 3-0. And it really wasn't that competitive of a match. Then they go next week, they go to Arsenal, league leaders, and they play them pretty evenly through the entire match and end up drawing them 1-1. This is a Brentford team that plays incredibly well at home, and they play incredibly well against teams in the bottom half of the table, plus 3.8 expected goal differential against those bottom 10 teams in the Premier League. Crystal Palace was one of the more underrated teams in the Premier League last year, but they've just completely fallen off a cliff, especially defensively. They're now 13th in expected goals allowed, and a lot of things in this matchup are bad for them. So Brentford is a very, very reliant team on set pieces, while Crystal Palace is 15th at defending set pieces. And what Brentford has also done against some of these lesser competition is when they play some of the bigger sides like Arsenal, like Manchester City, they'll sit in a 3-5-2, which eventually becomes a 5-3-2, a low block. They defend their penalty area very, very well. When they play these lesser competitions like Crystal Palace, like Nottingham Forest, like Bournemouth, they'll switch to a 4-3-3. They'll take a center back off. They'll bring an attacker on so they can actually break down some of these teams who are going to play low blocks against them. So I think this is a good price on Brentford at minus 115 and far too cheap for a team that's been in incredible form.
Crystal Palace getting 58% of the bets, as you can see below. That's pretty eye-opening. But yeah, the money coming in on Brentford. Okay, moving on to another matchup you like for the weekend. What is your play there?
Brighton, minus 150 at home against Fulham. This Brighton team under new manager, Roberto De Zerbi, who took over on October 1st, is an absolute juggernaut, averaging 1.85 expected goals per match. They've created 10.2 expected goals in their last 5 matches, and they've been in incredibly good form at home. They've also been very good against the non-Big Six, so against the non-big teams in England. They have a plus 8.6 expected goal differential, and they're nearing close to the top 4 and potentially a Champions League spot. The Fulham defense has to regress at some point. They're dead last in the Premier League in expected goals allowed per match. Coming out of the World Cup break, they have allowed 4 goals off of 10.1 expected, and they've allowed the most big scoring chances and the most shots inside their own 6-yard box of anybody in the Premier League. So if you're going to play Fulham, though, they love to swing crosses into the box. They're completing the second most crosses of anybody in the Premier League. Brighton is the number 1 team defensively at defending crosses in their penalty area. So this is a tremendous matchup here for Brighton, who I projected at minus 205. So I love the Seagulls at minus 150.
All right, BJ Cunningham, a ton of picks in the world of soccer. Today, the weekend, you can check them out in the Action app. Also, the show, we'll log the picks. BJ, thanks for the time.
Thanks, Brendan.
On to the ice, your market report for Thursday, February 16th. 2 games we will discuss in moments here on Green Dot Daily. Holy cow, Carolina minus 457 on the money line. Folks, these big money line numbers in the NHL, they have been eye-popping here the last couple of nights. Folks are in on Carolina hosting lowly Montreal, and then Detroit and Calgary face off at 9 o'clock. Calgary, 96% of the dollars, 91% of the bets coming in on the Flames. It allows us to welcome in Nick Martin to Green Dot Daily. You've seen him before on the show on the Line Change podcast, but for the first time, we have him on the show live. Nick, it's good to have you here. How you been?
Good. Yeah, doing well. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So let's take a look at Montreal and Carolina. As I mentioned, this is a significant money line number on the Hurricanes at minus 457. You look around, it's above minus 400 in a lot of spots. So what is an angle you'd like to take if you don't want to just lay the juice, of course, on a big favorite?
Yeah, I'm going to take the angle that Carolina is going to generate a ton of shots, which is kind of obvious to say. But there's a couple little intricacies in this specific spot where I like the idea that most game scripts, Carolina is going to have to keep pouring it on and pouring it on. So Carolina is a team known for having low quality shots. They continue to fall into that trend. Montreal's done a really good job lately of keeping guys behind the puck and has actually defended quite well, keeping their goals against down. And I think there's a good possibility in this spot that we see the game stay somewhat close, ideally, but Carolina just keep firing and firing. So I think it's quite likely that Carolina hits 40 shots on goal in this game, which is very significant in the NHL. It doesn't happen very often. And that moves all the numbers for save props, shot props significantly, which is kind of a theme for both games I've looked to target today. So my favorite Carolina shooter that I'm targeting, I like Teuvo Teravainen in this spot. He's back on the top line, top power play. He had an abysmal start to the year, which I think is still kind of holding some of the numbers down. But I like him to keep it going tonight. He's been averaging 3 on the dot. I think he'll get there. Over 2.5 shots is at plus 110. So I think we have strong value to make a play there and have him stay at what's been his average for 5 games here.
Love it. Okay, so again, that's a nice way to look into it. Again, you see the number on the money line and you're like, wait a minute, like what am I going to do here? Now, of course, you get the puck line option. I understand that, but that's a fun way to get involved in the game. How about Detroit and Calgary? Again, the Flames are the favorite at minus 270. So who might you turn to here in this matchup?
Yeah, so same kind of team. Calgary's they've been tremendous at generating shots this year, not so tremendous at finishing them. And in most games, they're having a really hard time pulling away, which is what we want when we're targeting top players. If the game gets out of reach, you're going to see 4 lines roll. So then if you're playing a star player like we are here, their usage is going to go down. So that's an issue. With that said, Calgary's had a really hard time pulling away. So I think this is a similar narrative where they're going to control a lot of the game and generate a ton of shots, which gets me interested with Calgary's shooters. And the guy I'm looking at is Nazem Kadri, over 2.5 shots at minus 165. So we'll talk about the juice number because I know a lot of people don't like the idea. You don't want to hear laying minus 165. Some people instantly say there's no value with that. Well, with shot props, this is a really important concept because a lot of times I see people thinking that going over a number of 3.5, where Kadri is on some books, has more value at a price of plus 110 than say Kadri at over 2.5 at minus 165. But the thing is, that's only an implied probability difference of 14% strictly by odds. Whereas I think the actual difference in Kadri hitting 3 compared to 4 is well past that. So I think that's where it's like, it's one of those things you don't want to say, let's play minus 165. But when you actually dig into the numbers of it, it's that much more likely that he'll get to 3 compared to 4. So yeah, that's just where there's more value with 2.5. And I think that's something you want to watch for shot props, where you really want to shop around in general, because all the books are going to have almost more discretion, I find, with these than other prices. And to tie them both together, I think neither of the goalies' props are up for saves yet, but I like Jake Allen or Sam Montembeault or Magnus Hellberg of Detroit to go over their save props unless there's something crazy. So I'd play those up to 32 for each.
All right, Nick Martin finding angles on this slate instead of laying all that juice to take the money line play. Diving into some player props. Thanks so much. You can remind the people again where you can be found on the Action Network app.
Yeah, I can. So I can be found writing daily articles on game previews and listen to Line Change podcast every Monday and Wednesday.
Excellent. New pod is out for the Thursday slate. You did it last night. It's out today with Michael Leboff. So check that out ahead of tonight's slate. Nick, thanks for the time.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me.
All right, picks from people such as Nick Martin are available in the Action Network app. at green.daily to see all the picks from the show. Brandon Anderson with some angles ahead of NBA All-Star Weekend and the All-Star Game. His picks reflecting the weekend, not really the game itself, because we don't really know what the teams look like yet. Stuckey is in on college basketball, a pick for tonight, also a future. And again, thanks to BJ Cunningham coming on to talk some soccer, all available at green.daily. Our show is presented by BetMGM, folks. You can use the bonus code ACTION when signing up to get up to $1,000 first bet insurance. Terms and conditions apply. All right, that's it for the Thursday program. Thanks for sticking with us all show long. I am going to go wash my jersey and get it game ready for Sunday. I feel really good about where we are from a chemistry standpoint with our draft. And I think looking forward to getting together with the guys and making a real run at this thing on Sunday. So Brandon Anderson, you better look out. You're in danger. So you can scroll back if you missed the beginning of the show. I put some fear into Brandon's eyes. And I think everyone behind the scenes on the show, they're blown away by the draft today. So we look forward to that. A couple of days for all of you to let your sink your teeth into that. We are back tomorrow at noon Eastern for Green.Daily. We are live on the app, live on YouTube. Talk to you all again tomorrow. Good luck tonight with whatever you decide to do. See you then.